Hey everyone, today Josiah and I were talking about these Remus lenses. They're an anamorphic lens kit that we use for a recent project with the Ko-Kwel Casino Resorts. Josiah, we had this project with one of our clients, a commercial project on the Oregon coast and in Southern Oregon, and we decided that we wanted to kind of up our game, do something even better. We'd worked with this client before, and our idea was to purchase an anamorphic lens kit. And of course, we had used some anamorphics earlier this year on another project. So essentially we decided, hey, let's purchase some lenses now. We've used the Atlas Orion lenses previously, so we decided to go with the Blazar lenses. Tell me, what were kind of the core reasons why we ended with the Remus lens kit?
We did a lot of research kind of comparing some of the different budget anamorphic brands. So we really thought it'd be nice to have a set of our own that we can use on any projects that we see fit. Just to have a cinema lens kit, but especially to have that anamorphic look and feel and that wide aspect ratio when we need it. And yeah, we kind of compared all these budget brands, did a lot of research. We ended up landing kind of on the Blazar Remus set as a nice balance between budget and getting a lot of that lens characteristic.
So we purchased this anamorphic lens kit from Blazar. Josiah did the research. We made a decision that this would be the lens kit for this project. And of course, the context of the project was we're filming in these beautiful outdoor landscapes, sand dunes, forests, the beach, winery. So all of these places really visually were intriguing, and we wanted to have that, again, sense of place, and these anamorphic lenses would do that for us. But again, this was a huge project for our team, and thus, the stakes were high. So, Josiah, let's just talk about the Blazar lenses that we purchased. We have a 33, a 50, and a 100 mil, a 1.5 kind of wide horizontal field of view. So not as wide as those Atlas Orion lenses that we used. So we had a 4-day film shoot. We're using these lenses. Give me your top 3 statements, your favorite parts about using these lenses.
I would say the Blazar Remus set it's really nice for the price, especially. One of the things that I really like about these is how compact they are. So in comparison, especially to using the Orions recently, pulling focus is way, I would say, just easier because you don't have to move things as much. It's just a smaller reach. So that makes them a little more easy to use. So I liked that a lot about them. I like the character, I like the look of them. I'd say the image quality is great. They're nice and sharp when you need them, especially if you stop it down a little bit, but you also get a lot of character, especially on the edges of the image. Sometimes the distortion can be a little intense around the edges, especially on the 33 millimeter. I'm definitely glad we used these for this project to showcase these landscapes. It really worked out.
So I want to bring up a specific example. So we're at the sand dunes, it's golden hour, sun's starting to fall, and we got some pretty nice lens flare just right over the dune. So we had our character front of frame, he's working the slot machine. It's a really humorous commercial, and yet we're just getting this nice lens flare coming through, and it really had some character versus just just a normal lens that we'd use in the past.
Our standard for a lot of projects is to use these Canon zoom lenses, which are great. You get a lot of great clarity and they have really nice image quality, but it's a noticeable difference in the way the image looks. And definitely for a project like this, you want things to look cinematic and you want to show off the beauty in the scenery, and then also just be able to once you have that nailed in, you can let the character, the actor just have fun with their performance. And I think these really worked for that.
So we have, the 33, the 50, and the 100. Originally, in pre-pro, we talked a lot about using the 50, the 33. Interestingly enough, I saw that we used a lot of the 100. So talk me through you as the director of cinematography, working with me, the director, and, sometimes I feel we have a plan and then, we pivoted. And so what did you notice about the focal lengths of these anamorphic lenses? Again, we have some experience, but this was really our first go into like a whole lens kit for a commercial project.
In pre-pro, we kind of were expecting to use, say, the 33 and 50 a lot more for the wider field of view. Not to say we didn't. For a lot of scenes, we did still use the 33, but we actually leaned quite a bit into using the 100 millimeter. And I think part of that was just to get that like sense of movements. Most of the commercials started with a slider move of some kind. The slider we have is maybe 4 feet long. Once you get everything on there, you realize the movement side to side of 4 feet doesn't look so big on camera when you have like a really wide angle lens like the 33. It was kind of a move from one character in the foreground to another character in the background. Switching to the 100 just made that movement feel a lot better and a lot more engaging and interesting to look at.
Earlier, I mentioned that we have used an anamorphic lens kit from Atlas. Huge shout out to them. It was an amazing collaboration for us to make this short horror film, and I used anamorphic lenses for the first time on a pretty awesome project. And we have a whole behind the scenes series about that project. So Josiah, compare and contrast the Atlas Orions lens kit. For instance, I mean, the fact that that was a 2x, this was a 1.5, these were full frame. The Atlas Orions were technically a Super 35, mount. So there are some obvious differences that, again, we can't say, well, this one's better, this one's worse. But as a cinematographer, what did you observe from these two different lens kits?
For one thing, the Blazars are much easier to use just because of their size and weight alone. That's a pro on their side. I would say the Atlas Orions, they have less distortion in the edges of the image than especially the wide of the Blazars, and I would say less focus breathing too. Not to say these ones are too much, but there are points where on the edges of frame, especially on that wide angle, like things warp a little more than I'd like to. That's something that the Atlas Orions probably have going for them, is they're a little less extreme on that front. You still get that characteristic of some barrel distortion, some warping on the edges of frame, but it's not so intense to be distracting.
Obviously one of the biggest comments filmmakers will have is like, well, heck, I can't afford a $10,000, anamorphic cinema lens. Understandable. I see this, Josiah, as it's not so much about the most expensive lens or the best lens, but hey, they're just all creative tools.
It really always comes down to the tool that you have, the tool that you can afford is the best tool for the job. If you always get caught up on like, oh, well, I can't afford the nicer, more expensive, or the newest camera, then you're always going to get stuck on that, and that's just going to hold you back from creating. Make videos on an old camcorder if you have to, but like for us, these Blazars fit the budget, and I would say they're definitely worth it. Like the build quality is fantastic. The image was great. I didn't have any issues working with these, and I would definitely do it again. And we're gonna definitely use these for a lot of more projects in the future. But yeah, as far as like comparing price-wise, it's like, yeah, hey, if you can afford the, say, Atlas, Orion, or Mercury, and that's what you're looking for, and maybe the amount of distortion in some of these lenses is a little too extreme for you, yeah, go ahead and get some Atlas lenses. They're great. Their people over there are great. But hey, if you're looking for something that's a little more budget friendly, but will still get the job done, these Blazars will do that.
Josiah, me, and the NAF team, we really enjoyed using these Blazar lenses for our recent commercial project with a casino here in Oregon, and we'll continue to use them on select projects when it makes sense. Huge shout out to Atlas as well, because we really enjoyed their lenses. Make sure to follow us if you find this content engaging, and if you have a suggestion, maybe you want to see some other product reviews, let us know in the comments. Huge shout out to Blazar Lenses for hooking us up with this amazing anamorphic lens kit, and until next time.